All right. Hello, 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 everyone. This is Gayle Nicholson, the host of Corona Spotlight 2020. Thank you so much for joining me again today. We are very, very happy to see you. And I am ecstatic to finally get to talk to this lady that I've got hanging on the line waiting. She is absolutely delightful, full of light and joy. And man, the stories that she can tell, oh my gosh. So, without any further ado, let me introduce to you Miss Krista Ducharme, a crystal and energetics healer, much like I have been in the past with dimensional healing with Krista. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I am so excited to do this with you. How have you been?
I have been great. Thank you so much for having me here, Gail. I'm really excited to be here. So yes,
Awesome.
how have you been?
Oh my goodness. It's been this past week in Phoenix has finally hit the excessive heat. It's been like not just triple digits, but over 110 this week. So we are literally melting. The hubby and I are running away after this show today up into the mountains to go camping for the weekend. So the future is definitely much more happy right now than the last few days have been. How have you been? Are you like locked down still where you're at, or do you have any mandatory mask orders or anything?
Actually, yes, we're still mandatory masks. We're in Virginia and in phase one. They are planning to do phase two tomorrow. And yet we still have minimal movement restrictions. And for me and my family, our movement is a little bit more restricted because we're also in transition to moving again out of the country. So
Awesome. So this makes move number 900 billion too?
sure, we'll go with that. That's a lot higher than what I was going to say.
How many moves has it been for you so far?
Actually, in reality, it's been 40 moves my entire life.
Wow. And I thought
Yeah.
I was way up there with 27, but lady, you got me beat. And wow.
I, yeah, I did 27 with my parents and my dad's military career. And now I am hitting 40 with my husband's career. So yes, it's been a few, but with it, it's been very exciting. I've lived in some great places
Mhm.
on 4 continents, and I'm getting ready to go live in country number 6 for me.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
What was your favorite place of those four continents or however many?
Oh, that's a question that everybody asks, and I really wish there was one perfect answer, but every place that I've been and every opportunity I've had, all it's done is open more doors
Hmm.
and open my eyes to just exactly how beautiful our world is. You know, Mama Earth is just full of all kinds of treasures, whether it be people, whether it be the planet itself, or the animals that walk on it. It is an amazing and incredible place.
That's so
Yeah.
wonderful to hear people say that. I agree with you 100%, but most of the time you hear like complaints, and it's just wonderful to see somebody talking about how beautiful the planet is. Not, why isn't everybody cleaning up the beaches or whatever? You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
just nice to see somebody celebrating the beauty.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, you were going to say?
Yep. I just was agreeing with you. Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. Now, where are you going next? Can you tell us? Because I know sometimes with military moves, they're like, nah, information blackout. No, you don't get to tell nobody till it's over.
No, actually, this move is a really awesome one, and we're moving to the Netherlands. We're going to be part of NATO. My husband's going to go work with NATO,
Beautiful.
and it's a part. I've lived in Europe before because I lived in Scotland and we've lived in Italy,
Hmm.
but this is an area I've never lived. However, I've been able to travel to, and I'm just really looking forward to it because The history in that area of the world is so rich.
I can
So
imagine.
and the food is phenomenal.
Is
Uh,
it? I never thought about that. When I think of the Netherlands, now, I could have my European geography off a little bit, but I seem to recall fjords. Are there any in the area where you're going, or are you?
so I really wish that I could answer that question
Okay.
intelligently, but I really have no clue. I have a book that I've cracked open probably twice. And it isn't because I'm not excited. It's just been there's so many other things that have lined up ahead of that.
I
So
gotcha. I gotcha.
yeah.
Well,
And in about 6 weeks I'll be able to give you far more information.
awesome. I expect an update, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, this is just another one of those diverse experiences that have informed your healing over the years, correct?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, definitely.
so, can give us a little bit of background and tell us, like, now I get it, 40 Moves is a long backstory, all right? But give us the highlights, if you would. What has informed your healing from all of the diverse places that you've seen and been to and experienced?
Um, that really is a great question. I wish I could say that I can pinpoint one thing over others. Ultimately, I as long as I can remember, I have had this gift of being able to see beyond what was in front of me. And I think I, I didn't think that that was an unusual thing. Like many of us who have these gifts, we think everyone does,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we don't see it as a gift. We don't even see it necessarily as an unusual thing. What I think has helped me is having the ability to learn about other people's cultures and to learn about other people's perspectives on how they view things, because we have a tendency to uh, to grow within that of what we know.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I was as I the older I became, and really for me it was that late 30s 40 line time
Mm-hmm.
frame. It kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, where I knew that I had to do something. And the way I always explain it to people, I had to tap in and use the gifts I was given, because it hurt not to. It physically hurt me not to use my gifts.
That's
If
an interesting concept. Can you say a little bit more about that? I mean, like, how does that manifest? How does that look?
so, I like many people I've talked to over the years, we tap into things. So I've been collecting crystals and playing with crystals and working with crystals since I was knee high to a grasshopper, as they say down here down south. And and so I always had them around. And then as I was growing older and I was meeting people, I learned about different things. Like I had a friend teach me about numerology when I was a teenager, and I started reading the tarot cards, and I started, really going in and out. It's like I ebbed and I flowed in and out of the spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found that like at university, when I went to college and stuff, it became more important to be on that logical level than it did to be connected with that spiritual level.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found that I was walking away from it. Well, after I started having kids, and after living, by that point I had already lived in 2 additional countries, and seeing and experience different religions, different cultures, different beliefs. And I found that it became harder for me, not only on a mental level, but also on a physical level, to deny what was bubbling up inside me. You know, it was like my soul was trying to sing.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually trying to scream so that I would listen. And so I found that I needed that. I needed to tap back into it. And I met my soul sister, and she moved into our neighborhood that we lived in. And I went for a walk with my daughter, and it was have you ever met somebody in your life where it was like this instant connection? You didn't realize that you were so connected, and it was just that you came into each other's energy field, and it was like a light switch flipped on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what it was for me. And I had been going down this path of being so sick, and it was like my body was physically hurting. I just wasn't able. I felt very disconnected, trying to be me. But when I met my soul sister, Miranda, it was like that light switch went right back on, and I knew where I had to go, and I knew I just knew that I had to stop trying to be so logical, and I had to connect to that spiritual side. And it was like my hands they were on fire. You know, anytime I would touch somebody, whether it was a hug, whether it was, you know, shaking their hands, whatever, it just seemed like all of a sudden, and I had cold hands typically. So yeah, it changed. It was
very interesting.
That quick.
Very interesting. We've got a couple of comments I wanted to just acknowledge. First of all, Joshua Costner, he's like, gypsy life is the military life, right?
It is.
Just get ready to pick up and go on to the next place. And
Definitely.
Michelle DeFaria Mills, she's acknowledging that she can definitely relate with what you're discussing right now, with that backup of spirit going, let me through. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And Michelle, I actually know her. She's a wonderful person, a gifted healer herself. And and it's like, as I explain to people, it has become the thing that I cannot not do, if that makes sense.
It does.
You can't, not be there to help people. And I've had to, ebb and flow and put things on pause, and, due to where, our circumstances, whether it be what my husband's job is or our location. Mm-hmm. However, I am a firm believer also that you attract those you need. And if you need a teacher appears. But if you need to be the teacher, it's amazing how your students just show up in front of you.
Isn't it though? Absolutely.
It is.
All right. Now, how long, you said it was kind of around the time that you were in university, right? That this started having its way with you, to speak. But how long has it been that you've been using your gifts?
So, and when I was in college, I kind of shut myself off.
Okay.
And then it was almost 18 years later, 17 years later, that I turned it on. Mm-hmm. And so I have been on this journey of, I call it a soul's journey. Mm-hmm. And I've been on this journey of really connecting to myself and then connecting with others. And it's just been like perpetual since about 2010. And that was it was right before my 40th birthday. Mm-hmm. So yes, you can do the math. I will be 50 this year. It's okay.
You whippersnapper, get out of here.
I love it. I have no problem aging with grace.
And you do it well.
So I've been doing this for about 10 years. Mm-hmm. And during this time, I've met remarkable people. I've met people that if I had otherwise, I'd say, and I'd say stay in my logic brain, mm-hmm. and stay in that logic side of myself, I probably never would have met. And it's not that my life would not have been rich, without them. However, having them in my life, I think has made it richer. My connections with people, because I see people through their soul more clearly than before. So I find that when I have a connection, it's a deeper one. And for me, I connect to that soulful part that really wants to be ignited. So yeah.
Nice. Now, do you feel like you can recognize a fellow healer the way that you see people? What exactly would you define as a healer, first of all?
All right. So my definition as a healer is very simple. It's we are the people that are here to hold the space for those who want to heal themselves. And so, yes, you may come to me for a session of some sort, or you may want to work with me through a life coaching or mentoring sessions, or a program of some sort. But ultimately, I'm not doing the work, but I'm holding that space for you, and I am walking with you. I tell people my journey only goes as far as you want it to go in your path. And it's okay, because we are meant to have many teachers, and we're meant to have many people that are here to help us grow, to be that best version of ourselves. Have you ever had that person in your life that was there? They did something really remarkable and helped you realize something that you didn't see within you, maybe then leave, not necessarily leave like, hey, bye, I'm gone forever and I'm never going to speak to you again, but you were drawn to go somewhere else and down another path. And maybe they're in your life, but they aren't necessarily,
you don't see them every day anymore, or they're not like, in your inner circle so much as more towards the outer. I get that.
Yeah. And so I think that's exactly, and when it comes to the healer, a lot of times it's just being there to hold that space for the person. There's a lot that goes into it. There are many layers, but it's healing and curing are two totally different. We're talking ends of the spectrum.
Gotcha. So. Absolutely. Now, what inspires you to be that space for other people?
I think my sense has always been, it's just been who I am. It's just it. I have strangers, and anybody who I think is a healer can identify, or a confessor, or a witness can identify with the fact that people will just come up, strangers. I can be walking in a store. I can be walking down the street. I can be in a foreign country. It doesn't matter. And I'll have people will come and tell me their story.
That's very interesting.
And I listen. And sometimes it's a touch. Sometimes it's just holding the space. Sometimes I'm able to pull something from them that they don't know. I always check. I never do anything without permission, because universal law is sacred.
Oh, it's just weird.
And so I'm like, yeah, no. But yeah, so, I've had those experiences where, and it's just, yeah. The stories I get to hear, it's wonderful, and I enjoy it because I learn a lot from them.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. So most people that discover and take action on the fact that they are a healer, most of them have had some sort of aha moment where it was like unmistakable. Did you have one?
Yeah.
What was it?
I did.
Would you share?
Yeah, I'll happily share my aha moment. And it was exactly when I met Miranda.
Uh-huh.
And it was one of those Hollywood moments, not where you're running towards each other, in a mist and hugging or anything, but it was that one where the aha was this, and it's so, and I always tell people, yeah, the sky open and you hear these angelic choirs going, ah, and I know it's like, I'm like, seriously, it was very Hollywood. Got it. Roger that. However, when you finally listen to what your soul is trying to say to you and what spirit keeps whispering to you, suddenly, you get it. It's one of those, whoa, yeah, and when I started going down this, people, they're like, this, it makes total sense, because I've either worked as a volunteer, in a medical field of some sort, or I've been a health and fitness instructor, and I've held multiple positions within the health and fitness industry, and I've done all these other things. They're like, oh no, this makes total sense. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh yeah, I can see that transition.
That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So, what is your favorite thing to do? I mean, is it crystals? Is it something else? Is it Reiki? What do you like best, and what mostly gets called from you? Like, what do other people need?
So, mainly I deal with crystals and Reiki. I layer a lot of different things. I love essential oils, and I've been working with just like with crystals, and I've been working with essential oils since my 20s. And, for me, it's all layering, because each modality, when you're talking energy and vibrational healing, it's different frequencies, and when you look at the frequencies that they all hit something differently. For Reiki, which is a Japanese relaxation technique, it has its own intelligence. So when you're working and using Reiki, along with like the crystals, and maybe you have essential oils also thrown into that mix, it's amazing. It's very powerful, because you're hitting on a physical level, you're hitting on an emotional level, and you're hitting that spiritual or spirit soulful level. So you can work on all different levels of vibration all at once. Yeah, and I really have found it's very powerful. Yeah.
You actually named off my first 3 tools when I became a practitioner: Reiki, crystals, and oil. So I'm just like, yeah, that's
you
awesome.
And I,
yeah, we really do kind of resonate that same way.
Yeah, we do.
One of the reasons I'm so excited about your crystal challenge coming up.
Excellent.
Yes. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I want you to give me just a little tease about what this is. What do you offer?
Okay, so the little tease about what the crystal challenge is it's you getting to actually know the crystals that you have in your house, without a book, because books are great, but they are not your connection.
Yeah. See, that's my crutch, is that I've got my, for lack of a better term, my rock Bible. And I literally taught myself my crystal tools when I with Reiki by studying that book. But I find, because I'm not in practice with people anymore, that now I have to go back and read the book. What was it about? And I'm like here instead of here. So this is a great refresher course for me as well, to be going through this with you. I'm excited about it. I can't wait.
So can I tell you a secret? This is also this challenge is as much for me as it is for everyone else.
Awesome.
So, we all ebb and flow with playing with our crystals. And I just had a little bit of a hiatus where they weren't talking to me. I kind of think of it like they had their nose snubbed up and their back turned. We don't want to talk to you right now.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Well, for those who've been watching this show for a while, my old backdrop, my old set had tons of crystals behind me on different displays. I still have some back there, and I've got my
Okay.
tools set aside, but there was a whole basket of crystals when I moved that they were all just like, we need some dark for a while, Mom. We need some
Yeah.
dark, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But man, when I installed that first wall, I could just feel everything from behind me. It was I'm like, maybe I was a little overloaded, but it's like a kid in a candy store, literally. It's an energetic candy store is what it
It
is.
really is. And I totally can relate and identify. You don't see the crystals I have here sitting on my left.
But I know they got to be there. Absolutely.
They are. Yeah, no,
Now,
I do.
now, how old, when you got into crystals, how old were you then? Was it
Right.
like, again, the 18 years after university? Or was it sometime in between there? Did they start like knocking on the door real light and going, hey, you want to play?
So I've been working, I had been collecting crystals, like no joke, since I was a little tyke,
Mm-hmm.
since I was really little. I carried around, my mom bought me this little change purse, and it was deerskin leather, very soft, very sweet. And every time I found a crystal or something that was sparkly, rock wise, I would put it in this little pouch, in this little change purse, which became my pouch. And then if we went to a museum, I was always, how at museums they have those little rock,
Mm-hmm.
go pick
Oh, trust
your
me, I'm in
tumbling
Arizona.
rock.
They've got them at every roadside stand between here and the Grand Canyon.
I am sure they do. Well, and so, so when I was younger, I would go and I'd pick them. And I never picked really, because when I looked back through them, I didn't have duplicates. I had very different, my collection was very different.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, I carried them with me everywhere. If I was getting on a plane, they were with me. If I was driving, they were with me. If I was in school, they were with me. So they're always in a bag in my little change purse. But it was about the time, I want to say it was about 25, 26, maybe. And I had to go and do something, and I can't remember what it was, but I put those crystals back and I put them in a drawer to be safe. Well, once they went into that drawer, it was really hard because I never came back out of that drawer until I was older. And the older I was older by, I was older by a lot, probably a good decade. And as you were saying, you asked if they were kind of knocking on my door and they were kind of calling back to me. And I can say that, yes, I was getting those signals that, yes, I needed to go look for them. But again, it was that whole light switch moment with Miranda. And, it's like, okay, yep. I want to say probably within a couple of days of meeting her, and I was about 39ish. So that was about a good 12, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't stopped since. I mean, I've been adding to my collection. Yeah. We had to lower our weight to move.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah. And my husband's like, he knows, it's like, I'll get rid of books. I'll get rid of clothes. I'll get rid of furniture. Do not talk to me about getting rid of my crystals.
Now, do you have any of the like larger pieces? I don't have very many big pieces. I just have a lot of little ones.
No, I really can't have the larger pieces in this military lifestyle of moving. I eventually one day, my hope is to have a nice cathedral amethyst,
Hmm.
and maybe there's some other large pieces that I have seen over the time that it's like I would really enjoy that as a piece in like a studio,
Hmm.
or I don't know, an office or my living room.
I when I was dreaming about whatever kind of house that I wanted eventually, one of the
Hmm.
visualizations that I had was a center staircase that went up and around the outside of the upper, but on
Oh,
each banister, in front of each banister, was an amethyst crystal that had a
hmm.
cut in the top and displayed one of my ex-husband's swords down and then lit from inside. And I mean,
Wow.
I still want to design and have this thing built, but I've never seen anything like it except for in my mind, and I still want it. I still want it to this day.
Wow, that's impressive. That would be beautiful. Yeah, no, I haven't quite visualized where I want the amethysts, but as I do love the idea. There's a place in New York, and I've only seen it on Facebook. Um, and they have these cathedrals that they use for crystal healings,
Hmm.
and a pillow, and you lay your head inside.
Oh
And I'm
my.
I would love to go and experience that. And then there's this huge big one that you lay in front of. I'm like, yeah, I'm afraid that if I had that experience, I would be like, yeah, no, come get me next year.
Right? Oh my gosh, you're gonna have to send me the link on that one. That sounds awesome.
And doesn't it sound incredible? Yeah.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
what are you studying now? What's going forward for you?
So going forward for me, and right now is I am a certified crystal healer through Hibiscus Moon's Crystal Academy, and I am mainly self-taught, like you, and I did research. However, because of the people I'm around, I always believe that I need to have my foot in logic as well as in the spiritual realm of life,
Mm-hmm.
because I have to be able to explain to those that are around me. My
Mm-hmm.
dad's a nuke engineer. My son is going to school to be a nuclear engineer. You know, it's like I have to I have to have that balance of both.
Well, I think
So
I
the really
honestly
cool
for myself, sorry for interrupting, but
no
I've
no no
done this too. I have padded my world with people that hold me accountable. So that I
Mhm.
have to be able to defend my position on what this crystal does and why it does it and how it
Yep.
does it and all of that. I don't know if it just keeps me grounded and keeps me from floating away or what, but I think that you do the same thing I do.
Yep.
Just, keep me
Yep.
honest here.
And it is, and it helps, and it helps. So I'm decided that I'm doing my advance, because she's now opened it up, her new advanced program. So I'll have be an advanced crystal healer,
Hmm.
and so I'm working with that at the moment, which just means that it's like I'm getting. The cool thing is Hibiscus Moon herself. She's a science teacher,
Awesome.
and who has taken her passion of crystals, and her geeking outness of the science world, and brought it together. And so for me, it's all her programs are really great, and I've been following her since way in the beginning of her starting all her programs.
Hmm.
I just I find that studying something in the middle of a move is always the right thing to do.
That's hilarious.
At least I'm not trying to do a master's degree or a PhD or anything,
This time.
like, oh. Yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
working with that so that I can, um, essentially, it keeps me, like I said, like you and I both are discussing, it keeps me honest. It helps me understand. So a little bit more, it adds more clarity. So when I'm speaking,
Mm-hmm.
I don't sound as nonsensical
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
those around me.
Well,
Right.
I think that it's wonderful for a coach, quote unquote, to always have a coach, because
Mm-hmm.
once we close that system and we think that there's nothing more to learn, then what we can teach degrades as well. And
Yes.
that's just my opinion on it.
No, it is so true. I totally agree with that. So for me, I do try to learn further. Um, there are other levels. I am an Asui Tibetan Reiki master teacher at the moment. However, Holy Fire, which is all taught under the International Reiki Center of Reiki Training,
Mm-hmm.
um, is been calling me as well. So I'm like, maybe I'll, so that means it's just another lineage to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I'm like, okay, maybe that will call. And for me, I know that when I go over to Europe, there's there are so many other aspects
Mm-hmm.
that would be really interesting to learn and learn more about. I mean, even just some of the traditions that we here in the United States follow and carry through, but we don't necessarily understand the history of where it all comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Always has been, held a place in my heart
Nice.
because I really believe that understanding where we're going, even to learn, to develop, to grow, you have to have a foundation of where it came from or where, what has happened to make things move in that direction. So yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. And those types of things give the context and the shading and the impact, um, in a lot of different ways. That, when we find out a piece of history about something, for example, like the Hope Diamond, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some fascinating stories about some of the greatest jewels of Europe,
Mm-hmm.
that many people just don't know because it's not that, it's not a blockbuster movie.
Nope.
you know?
Well, and then in order to make it a blockbuster movie, you have to add, why screw up the truth with too many, or screw up a good story with too many facts, right?
Right, right. Um, we're not going to mention the Da Vinci codes. Anyways, let's talk about your crystal program that's coming up, though.
Yes,
Because,
yes.
again, beyond the teaser, give us a little bit more in depth of what people are going to get out of this 7-day experience.
All right. So it is essentially you learning to connect with the stones. Maybe you have already, or maybe you're just curious. And it's a free challenge. And each day I have it marked out for a different stone. I have 4 that I recommend, and then 3 days where if you have a stone that you already have at home and you want to connect to it, then you can. I will go through a process each day where I always like to keep it fun, because I find crystals fun. I find anything that sparkles to be
Mm-hmm.
fun. I mean, for me, I'm just all about the sparkle. I write in sparkly pens. It's like, I love it. So, the key with this whole challenge is that you're going to learn to connect to the crystal, and I'm going to teach you how to listen to it. Now, my kids always joke around with me and they say, Mom, they don't come up and have a conversation with you. And I'm like, well,
Oh, you'd be
maybe not the
surprised.
way we're talking. However, they do have a conversation with you. Some people, will go through all the clairs, and I'm not, so that people can learn which intuition is, the crystal connects best with them. And so that you learn not just how to connect with the crystal and what the crystal does for you, but you're going to learn about your own intuition and how it works. Are you somebody who hears, your intuition with your hearing, your clairaudio? Is that what your clairaudience? Is that what your primary is? And how does that work for you? It doesn't necessarily mean that, again, it's a conversation like this. It could be that you're actually getting your intuition clues from the song that's on the radio, or that you're hearing noises that no one else is. I had somebody who would hear whale songs and was like, so are you hearing the whale songs? Are you guys hearing the whales? No, that's your communication.
That's interesting.
And so it's really exciting when you start connecting into that. And we'll have some fun. We'll have some fun challenges, like nothing that's too over extreme, but I have people, I give you guys a journal sheet that you can print out. Mm-hmm. And it will have questions or things to look at. It has a spot if you want to take a picture of your crystal, because then you can start creating your own crystal journal.
Nice.
And what it's doing with you. And just because, we do this over 7 days doesn't mean it's done, because each time you work with the crystal, it's going to tell you something different, or it's going to teach you something more.
Nice.
And that's why one of the big things, one of the number one rules I always tell people is don't go to any crystal book or Google.
Right.
No, I know. And I'm guilty. I want to know what everyone else is saying. I want to know what everyone else is experiencing. However, the true understanding is how it works for you, because we all connect differently. And I've actually had clients who, so I use the chakra colors, which are the 7 major energy centers we have. When I'm working with stones during sessions, and it can be a different number of stones. However, I've had people who are almost reversed in what their chakras are. And does it make it right? Does it make it wrong? It just makes it that's the way their system is set up. And so they connect to things differently than how I connect to it. It doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it different.
Right.
And so, yeah. But I'm really excited. The people I've had that go through this, I haven't done one in probably 3 years, a crystal challenge. But in the past, we've had a lot of fun. We've learned a lot about our crystals from ourselves and from each other. And my hope is, because I'm in the same hemisphere as a large number of people. I was in Australia the last time when I was running this, which it was fun. And I had a lot of people down under with me playing. Mm-hmm. But we'll be able to have we'll have little meetings like this where we can actually talk.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I encourage everybody who is listening to this, and I can see you people, I can see you that are listening to this. Reach out. There is a link in the scroller ticket, and that same link is going to be in the comments as well, or above the video when we share this out. Go there. It starts June 8th. It's free, no cost, and you could actually win a distance Reiki session with Krista herself, which that itself is $120 value. Nothing to sneeze at. You definitely want in on that, for sure. Do you have any final words, Krista, before we send everyone on their way today?
I really want to thank you, Gayle, for opening up this space for not just me, but for everyone that you've been able to help over the last few weeks. And to everyone else who's out there watching, my message to you is remember to always be the best version of you. And never forget that the light within you is needed in this world.
That's wonderful stuff. Thank you so much for being the light that you be in this world, Krista. And thank you for all of the work that you're doing worldwide to bring peace and love. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, have a fabulous weekend. There is no show tomorrow. I will be communing with the trees, and maybe if I have any self-service, I'll do a live. So we'll talk to you again real soon. Take care. When you do actual energy work, makes that recovery progress so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have to live as a victim until your last days. You have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how.